There's some dark stuff on
Oh boy.
the gold mine stuff you've talked about. You showed me parts of the rainforest where the gold mines are, and they're just kind of erasing the rainforest.
Yeah.
Sort of at the edges, that's when the mining happens. And it's this ugly process of they're just destroying the jungle just for the surface layer of the sand or whatever that they process to collect just little bits of gold. And there's also very dark things that happen along the way as the communities around the gold mines are created. So the entirety of the moral system that emerges from that has things like prostitution, where 1/3 of the women that are drawn into that sex traffic and prostitution are minors under 17 years old, 13 to 17-year-old. There's just a lot of really, really dark stuff.
I think that we have a rare chance to do something against that darkness. I think that this is an example of local people who have taken action, done good work, been good to the people that have visited, harnessed a certain amount of international momentum. And now we're on the cusp of doing something historic. And so for the children in the communities along this river, it won't be being a prostitute in a gold mine. It'll be becoming a trained ranger. Like last month, our ranger coordinator and one of our female rangers went to Africa for a ranger conference. And it's like this is someone from a little tiny village with thatched huts upriver. She went to Africa to talk about being a professional conservation ranger. And it's like, that's changing lives. And her daughters, then she's married to Ignacio, the guy. She like their kids are going to grow up seeing their parents walking around with the emblem on and go, oh, I want to. And then people like Pico and Pedro and all these guys that work here are going to go, well, we have to protect this forest. And then they start getting fascinated about the snakes. And then they start caring about the turtle eggs. And then all of a sudden they have a way of life, and nobody needs to go needs to go steal anybody's kids to be a prostitute in a gold mine. That's horrible. And so it's really it's a win-win for the animals, for the river, for the rainforest, for people. It's biocentric conservation. It's just making everything better.
Yeah, I've read in an article that said an estimated 1,200 girls between ages of 12 and 17 are forcibly drafted into child prostitution around the communities in the gold mines. At least 1/3 of the prostitutes in the camp are underage. The girls had ended up in the camp after receiving a tip that there were restaurants looking for waitresses and willing to pay top dollar. They jumped on a bus together and came down to the rainforest. What they found was not what they were expecting. The mining camp restaurants served food for only a few hours a day. The rest of the time, it was the girls themselves who were on the menu. Literally at the end of the road, and without the money to return home, the girls would soon become trapped in prostitution.
It's interesting to me that the most devastating destruction of nature, the complete erasure of the rainforest, burned to the ground, sucked through a hose, spit out into a disgusting mercury puddle, like the complete annihilation of life on Earth, goes hand in hand with the complete annihilation of a young life. It's like it's all based around the same thing. It's the light versus the dark. It's the destruction and the chaos versus a move towards order and hope. And it is incredibly dark. And this region is heavy with it.
Well, I'm glad you're fighting for the light.